Konnichiwa everybody, welcome back. Bit of a different video today, really, because it's all modern stuff. Not what I'm generally associated with, but anyway, I thought I'd do a video on the Ps4 collection. If you're not aware, I had a PS4 when it first came out, wasn't interested, got rid of it very quickly. Then I bought another one about 18 months ago, just to see how things had changed really, because there was one or two games that I fancied trying. And I just thought I'd do a video now, sort of catching up on where I've sort of got with it, and my thoughts on it really. It's a massive library on the PS4, absolutely brilliant, but 90% of which I've got no interest in. I've got no interest in modern gaming whatsoever. However, there is still a great array I've found out of retro inspired games on the PS4, and primarily that's the stuff I've been collecting. But I had a big list of stuff, and over time I've gradually worked through it, and I've pretty much got everything I want for it now. So I thought it was a good point to do a video sort of explaining where I'm at and what I've got for it. I'm not going to dwell on any of these games because it's going to go on for too long. So I'm going to split it down into sections. I'm going to go special editions first, then I'm going to do driving games, then shooters, then fighting games, then everything else. So you can skip then if you want to miss anything you don't want to know about. So without further ado, we'll crack on with the special editions. I don't go out looking for these, to be honest. I haven't got the space to store them. But I do like steelbooks. So there's a bit of everything. So we'll start with this one anyway. And we've got the Rumblefish 2 collection. This is a Japanese game. But obviously they all work on PS4, it's universal. Nice little collection. One-on-one 2D fighter. I've only played it once. But it's a nice little box, and you get an art book and, you know, the usual stuff. And then we've got Splasher, which is a really cool 2D platformer actually. You know, much like a 16-bit game. Eddie put me onto this. That is a really good game where I've played a bit. Then we've got some just some regular special editions I picked up from CEX mostly. Just a slip cover on that one, but it's a nice sort of metallic foil. I haven't actually tried that. Then we've got Project Cars 2, which is a nice steelbook. And then we've got F1 2019 again, which is just a slipcover. Don't like that, to be honest. Modern F1 games I've got no interest in. Then the last one I actually picked up off my list was only last week actually, which is this beautiful Catherine full body steelbook. Again, I've not tried that yet either. Then we've got BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. Again, it comes with an art book in a cardboard box. And then in a similar vein, we've got Under Night In Birth EX Late ST. There's two versions of this, but you can get this one in a special edition. Brilliant 2D one-on-one fighter. Then we've got Gear Shifters, which is a bit of a cross between a driving game and a shooter. Geordie Slasher put me onto this, really good. And then we've got the Dirt Rally collection, which is Dirt Rally the game and a Colin McRae DVD. And then we've got another box set with an art book, and we've got Quicksilver. Don't think this gets very good reviews. I've only played it once. It's just running around beating people up in a 3D environment. It was alright, as I remember. Nothing special. Then we've got the House of the Dead remake. Awesome game. Just, you need a light gun. I'm still yet to try this with a move controller. Then we've got some more steelbooks. We've got Injustice 2. Another great 2D fighter. And then in a very similar vein, we've got Mortal Kombat 11. Again in a lovely steelbook. And then also we've got Mortal Kombat 10, which is even better really. got an embossed scorpion on the cover and on the back. And then the last special edition I've got, this is another particularly nice one. We've got King of Fighters 14, is it? Yeah, 14. Lovely steelbook. Dropped lucky on this on a CEX roulette. Absolutely chuffed with that one. And again, an awesome 1-on-1 2D fighter. Right, that's all the special editions. So we'll move on now to the driving games. Driving games. This is probably the section I've sort of spent most time trying to accumulate. So we'll start off ATV Renegades, which is a fairly basic off-road vehicle racing, nothing special. Then we've got Descenders, which is downhill mountain biking. That didn't impress me as much as I was hoping. And we've got Dangerous Driving, which is by the people who made Burnout. This is quite good from what I've played of it. All these I haven't played to any great length really. Dirt 4, fairly self-explanatory rally game. This is the one I've played most actually, Dirt 5. Much less of a rally simulation and more of an arcade, traditional, you know, old school blast. Really like this. It's kind of shallow I suppose, but really good. Another great game, Flat Out 4. Love the Flat Out games, and this is another brilliant one on the PS4. And then we've got Gas Guzzlers Extreme. I've only played this once, I can't remember what this is like. I think it's kind of similar to that Dangerous Driving and Burnout from memory. And we've got to pick this one up cheap, Grid. Too much of a simulation type game to me really. You know, it's alright. This is another one like Burnout and, you know, arcade gravel. Really good this, what I've played of it. Cracking arcade style, off-roady style racer. And then this is one of the best games of the last 20 years for me. Horizon Chase Turbo. Stunning game. Absolutely brilliant. Hot Wheels Unleashed. Disappointed with this one, to be honest. I'd read that it was quite good. Don't do much for me. Another awesome racer. We've got Hot Shot Racing. Looks absolutely stunning. This is, you know, you could imagine Sega making this. It's brilliant. Then we've got Inertial Drift, which looks cool. Sort of a nighttime Japanese street racer, but it's got weird controls. You use both analog sticks. It's strange, but it's got a charm about it. I do quite like that. Then we've got what's on in the background. We've got Kandegawa Jet Girls. And Dylan put me onto this one, so I've got to say thanks to Dylan for that. Sort of a jet ski racing game with sort of you know, your Japanese cutesy girls. Really quite good actually. This is brilliant. Mud Runner. Absolutely love this. Real slow paced, methodical driving game. You know, it's more about dealing with the obstacles of the world environment you're in, you know, the mud and the, you know, water and all that. Brilliant. Love it. And then we've got Mini Motocross Racing. Now this is really quite fun as well, a nice arcadey micro machine style game really. And you don't need the VR to play it. Really quite good. I dropped on that completely by chance, I'd never heard of it. Monster Truck Championship, again really arcadey. Decent what I've played of it, wouldn't say it was a must play, but reasonable. This is really good, NASCAR Heat 5. Obviously you gotta like NASCAR, but I do like my American, you know, IndyCar racing and that kind of stuff, so it does appeal to me, but nevertheless really good. This is another brilliant arcade racer and it's dirt cheap, on Rush. Real fantastic game this is. I suppose it's kind of a bit like Burnout, but it's all like off-road. Really good. That's one of the best ones I've played, I would say. It's really good. Project Cars. I bought this because I had this when I first had my PS4 and liked it. But it's very simulation-y. I mean, it's brilliant, but it's just too simmy for me. I've got no time for them really anymore. Project Cars 3, just more of the same, obviously. Then we've got Redout, which is a Wipeout style game. Again, quite reasonable. And most of these, I've got to say, we're all, you know, I've picked all these up fairly cheap. For the most part, I'd say under a tenner. Certainly under 15 for 90% of them, aside from the odd few I bought new. Radial G, this is another Wipeout style game, as I remember. Yeah, it is. Again, decent. And again, cheap. This one wasn't so cheap, actually. Snow Runner. I bought this after I bought Mud Runner because I like that so much. This is much the same in snow. Absolutely awesome games. If you like slow, methodical, you know, really, really good. I can't praise them too enough. Then we've got Sebastian Loeb Rally. Again, it's another rally simulation style game. I mean, it's well done, but in no way is it arcadey. It's a serious rally game. Then we've got Trailblazers, which again I think is another Wipeout style game from memory. I've only played this one once, but it was. I mean, it wasn't. If it was terrible, I'd have sold it. You know, if I don't like something, I'll sell it straight away. I don't keep them. So it was decent. Now this one did appeal at the time. Taxi Chaos. I mean, it's a blatant, crazy taxi rip-off. But it's really well done actually, and it is a really good game. This is another great game, Trackmania Turbo. Obviously started like way back, but this is a great version. And again, it's fairly cheap for a brilliant arcade racer, that is. This is really good as well. It's kind of in the mid-ground between simulation and arcade racer, but really, really good actually. That's truck racing. This is another belter, Wreckfest, stunning game, a modern destruction derby, but it's absolutely brilliant. Honestly, this is if you like driving games, this is a must play. Then we have got Wipeout. I'm not a fan of Wipeout on any console, to be honest. This was better than I was expecting. It's possibly the best Wipeout game. Or the Wipeout game that appeals to me most out of all of them. I don't love it, but it's alright. And then we've got Xenon Racer. Now this is a really cool arcade style racer, but the handling is not as good as it could be. If the handling was better, I would say this would be a stunning game. Unfortunately, there's something just a bit lacking, which is a real shame because in many ways it's brilliant. Right, that's the driving games. So next up we'll do shooters. Right, shooters. This is the one area that I will probably still keep buying games, like new releases, because it's awesome for shooters. But what have I got so far? I've got a few. I've got a few on the Switch as well, so it's a bit of a mixed bag with my shooters on both consoles. First up, we've got Andro Dunos 2. This is a great game in my opinion. Obviously a sequel to the Neo Geo original. Great game. Lots of people have mentioned how good that is. Next up we've got Contra, which don't get very good reviews, but I don't think it's too bad, to be honest. Bit of a twin stick shooter, I suppose you would call it. Not a bad game for the money. I mean, it's dirt cheap. Next up we've got Circuit Breakers, which is again another sort of 8/16-bit twin stick shooter. Really good. If you like that, like Smash TV, if you like that, you're going to like Circuit Breakers. Then we've got Cotton 16-bit. There is another Cotton game I want actually. But these are sort of ports of the old Mega Drive and Super Nintendo games. You can't go wrong with the Cotton games in my opinion. They're all good. Then we've got Darius Burst EX. Again, another beautiful game. Again, I don't think you can go wrong with Darius games. Then we've got, this is a Japanese game actually, Gundaminiums. I've only played it once, but it was quite good as I remember. I don't know if it was Bullet Hell. I think it was, but not majorly from memory. That's Gundaminiums. Then we've got Geometry Wars Evolved, and I think this was the, I'm sure this is the one that's amazing in 3D. Again, quite reasonably priced, that one. Then we've got, this is the case for Gear Shifters. I've took it out of the cardboard box, so I haven't got to keep opening it. Brilliant game. Then we've got Gensou Rondo, which is another sequel to an Xbox 360 Senko Rondo, I believe. Much in the same vein. I did think this one was better than the Xbox one though. Then another Japanese one. We've got, is it Japanese? Yeah, got this quite recently. Never Awake. Again, it's another twin stick style shooter. Quite a cool looking game actually. Really quite good. Then we've got Raiden 5. Not maybe the best Raiden game, but it's still Raiden. R-Type Final 2. R-Type's not my favourite game, to be honest, in regard to shooters. I don't know why. I like it, but I don't love it. But this actually does look quite nice. Then we've got what's on the TV. The track screen's diabolical. But this is a really good horizontal 2D shooter. But it looks 3D. It looks stunning. It's like £4 in CX. You can't go wrong with this. It's really good game. Then we've got another Japanese game. We've got Same Same Same, which is the Flying Shark Collection, which is the old like arcade and Mega Drive ports. Flying Shark is on the Spectrum as well. So that's a nice little collection. And then in a very similar vein, we've got the Tiger Heli Collection. Again, various different versions from arcade and another nice collection. You can't beat those M2 Tower Plan arcade games. This is another dirt cheap game, and I might have got that wrong. This is the one that's amazing in 3D. Super Stardust. Again, twin stick shooter, kind of like Asteroids or Mindstorm on the Vectrex. Just done it with modern fancy graphics. Really, really good. Now, believe it or not, this was the game I bought the PS4 in this time around. This is the game I wanted to play. Tempest 4000, because I love Tempest 2000. It's good, but it's not as good as 2000. But that said, it's still great to experience on the PS4. Then we've got Velocity. Now, if I remember right, this is the one that's a mixture of platforming and shooting. A bit of a quirky mix, but it was reasonable, as I remember. And then the last in the shooting section, we've got Wild Guns Reloaded, which is an update of the old SNES game, which costs like 300 quid these days. Like a what they're called, gallery shooters. Yeah, I think so. Basically, like you control your character running across the screen and you shoot stuff in the background. It's hard, but it's really good. So that's the shooters, and we'll move on now to the fighting games. Right, fighting games. This might even be my biggest section, to be honest, which is a bit unusual for me. Right, first up, we've got Blade Strangers. Again, this is a Japanese game. These are all primarily 2D one-on-one fighters, but they're all good and worth playing. Then we've got BlazBlue Central Fiction. These are all the BlazBlue games are fantastic. All Arc System fighters are brilliant in my opinion. So I do try and get all these, but they're all fantastic. we've got BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. This one's got, yeah, this one, I dropped on this in CX. It's got the sort of miniature GameCube sized, I think it's a, yeah, mini soundtrack. So that's nice to have. Cross Tag Battle. Turn that down a bit. Right, we've got BlazBlue Chrono Phantasma Extend. Again, you can't go wrong with BlazBlue games. Then we've got another Japanese input. We've got the Capcom Fighting Collection. I think there are 10 games on here. Various different Street Fighters, Puzzle Fighter, Pocket Fighter, Cyberbots. It's got the Darkstalkers games, and it's got Red Earth, which is the only way you can get to play Red Earth. So that's primarily the reason I bought this. It's a fantastic collection of games, no two ways about it. Then we've got Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which again is a stunning looking game. This is more of a 3D environment game, but the graphics on it are sensational. I haven't really played it too much to know much about it. I think it was Dylan put me onto this one as well. It was like £10 brand new, I think it was. So definitely want to check out. Then we've got Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. Love the Dead or Alive games. So they were must purchases. And then for the same reason we got Dead or Alive 6. You can't go wrong with Dead or Alive in my opinion. And then we've got Final Vendetta. This is your more traditional 16-bit stroke arcade scrolling beat up in the vein of Final Fight and Streets of Rage. Really good. Balls hard. Until I patched it and put an easy mode in, which I haven't actually tried yet. I've not gone back to it since I bought it now. Then we've got Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I've never heard of this one, and then I think it was Betty called Bill who showed a bit of gameplay, and I bought it straight away. Again, really good. This is another Arc System Works game, I think. Yeah, they're on the back anyway. You can play this in RPG mode, I think, but you can play it as a straight fighter, which is the way I play it. Really quite good. Then again, Arc System, Guilty Gear games, they're all amazing. This is Guilty Gear XRD Revelator. And then we've got Guilty Gear XRD Revelator 2. And then we've got the latest one, which again looks absolutely stunning, Guilty Gear Strive. Then we've got Gundam Versus, which is a Namco game. It might be an arcade game, this. Other versions have been in the arcade. I'm not sure if this one has, but they're basically 3D mech fighting games in a very similar vein to Virtual on the, you know, the old Sega arcade games. Really not bad at all, these. Then we've got some old classics. This is a Japanese game. We've got King of Fighters 98. King of Fighters is just awesome. And we've got King of Fighters 2002. And then we've got King of Fighters 15. This is the latest version, obviously. Stunning. Then we've got, I don't remember what this one's like. We've got Nitro Blasters. It's a one-on-one 2D fighter. It's a Japanese arcade apparently. I mean, I tried it when I bought it. I can't remember a thing about it. But like I said, I'll sell them straight away if I don't like them. So it must have been good. You don't see that one very often actually. I'm sure I dropped on that in CEX. Then this is very similar to the Gundam games and Virtual On. Again, these are cheap in CEX. Just took a punt on it, and it's really quite good. Override, 3D mech style combat game. Really quite good for the money. They're a bargain. And then there's a sequel called Override 2. And then That's just the regular game for the Rumblefish, which I showed in the special edition box earlier. And we've got another Japanese game. We've got River City Girls 1 and 2. Again, old-fashioned 8/16-bit scrolling fighter. Really good. One of the best game series ever made for me. Soul Calibur 6. Fantastic. They're all amazing games. Then we've got Shaq Fu. This was a surprise. Really good scrolling 2D beat 'em up. Really, that was like £5 or something. Bargain. And then, of course, you've got to have the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection. Pretty much every version of Street Fighter up to 3 is on here. Amazing collection. And then we've got Streets of Rage 4. Again, fantastic game. This is the later, what's it called? Anniversary Edition. I think it just includes the DLC, doesn't it? And then we've got another absolute stunner. We've got Samurai Showdown. This is an awesome update to the old Neo Geo game. Stunning game. And then we've got 2 in the Under Night series, which I've got running in the background. We've got, this is the one I showed the collector's box for. This is just out of that box to save me keep opening it. Under Night in Birth. X-Late ST, that one. And then we've got the, I don't know which one's the sequel and which one's the first one. We've got Under Night. There's no special edition to this, as I can see. This is X-Late CLR. Both stunning games. For the money, you can't go wrong. That, I mean, just look at the graphics. It's amazing, honestly. If you like 2D fighters, you need to jump on that. Right, we're on to the last section, which is the miscellaneous NEL. Miscellaneous games what don't really fall into them previous categories. So first of all, we've got Horizon Zero Dawn. I just bought it to see what the hype was over, all about really. I mean, it's really good, obviously, but it's not something I've got time to be bothered with playing. It's worth nothing else. I'd have sold it. Then we've got the ABC Murders. I don't know, I just fancied trying this. Like a point and click style thing. Not really my cup of tea, generally. I don't know, I just bought it on a whim. Not played it since. Then we've got the 2 Shenmue games. Again, I bought these on a bit of a whim, thinking I'll play them one day. I probably won't, to be honest. I might end up selling them, to be honest. Then we've got Rhyme, which is a sort of a, I think people call them walking simulators, don't they? But it's kind of an slow-paced adventure game. I started playing this, and the first chapter I thought was brilliant. I was absolutely loving it. Then it went on to the second chapter, and I couldn't get on with that, and I've not played it since. I believe this is a similar style game. I got onto this after Clay Graphics showed it. I've not tried this yet, but I think it's a similar game to Roy. Then we've got, this one's still sealed actually, Immortals Phoenix Rising. I used to have it on the Switch and sold it, and then it was dirt cheap on the PS4, so I thought I'll rebuy it. At some point I might go back and play a bit more, because it's basically a Breath of the Wild copy. Then we've got the absolutely stunning Windjammers 2. If you've played Windjammers, I'm sure you've played Windjammers 2, but it's a sensational update of the SNK Neo Geo original. Brilliant game. Then we've got Tour de France 2020. You've got to like cycling, really. I do, which is why I bought it. Then we've got Steep. I've never tried this because it was a massive install and my hard drive was full, and until I got an external hard drive I hadn't got the space to install it, and I've never gone back to it since. So again, it's worthless, else I would have probably sold that on. Awesome game, everybody's golf. I love these arcade style golf games, and this is fantastic. Yoku's Island Express. This is kind of a platform game mixed with a pinball game. Really quite fun. Then we've got the remake of Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap. Great little game. And then of course we've got the fantastic Wonder Boy Collection. Can't go wrong with that. Then we've got a 3D platformer, much in the vein of sort of a Mario Odyssey style game, Sackboy. I've only played a bit of it, but it looks really, really good where I've played a bit. I do want to go back to that. I don't remember this one. Super epic. It's some kind of 2D platformer, but I couldn't tell you. Again, it wouldn't have been rubbish, else I would have sold it. And then we've got Ollie Ollie and Ollie Ollie 2. Now these are sort of, they're almost mobile phone style games really, where you just manoeuvring a skateboard along a scrolling platform course. Very simple, but they are really good games actually. But it's sort of, you've got to keep playing them to learn the level basically. But it's really good. This is another one Eddie put me on to, Lumo. This is a cracking sort of 3D adventure style game. It reminds me very much of Attic Attack on the Spectrum, only in a modern 3D environment. Really, really good. Then we've got Earth's Dawn. Now I think that was like a run and gun. I can't remember. I've only played this one once. But I'm sure it looked a bit bland, but it was alright. That was my overriding memory for that. This is another stunner. Battle Axe. Again, I think Eddie put me onto this as well. So, cheers Eddie. He put me onto a few of these. Really fantastic old style overhead gauntlet style game. Brilliant. And we've got another Japanese game. An old arcade game that never got released or something, I seem to remember reading. Looks absolutely beautiful. It's so colourful. It's a stunning, very much a Neo Geo style looking game, I thought. Clockwork Aquario. Now I'm not into these Metroidvanias, but I'd heard a lot about Axiom Verge and I got it cheap I think, and I tried it and I've got to say I played it an hour or so and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. This is another one I need to go back to. Then we've got another platform game. We've got the remake of Alex Kidd. I was never a massive Alex Kidd fan, but I was curious to know what this looks like, and it's done well. And I like how you can switch between the modern and the old graphics. I mean, you've still got to like Alex Kidd though, really. Tetris Effect. This is another one that looks absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you can get this one in 3D, but anyway. Maybe I'm thinking it's in VR. Anyway, it's really good anyway. The effects are brilliant. Then we've got another, oh this is an American game. We've got Pac-Man Championship Edition. And it's also got Dig Dug and Gallagher on it. But it's got like modernised versions of Pac-Man on it. Really quite good. And then we've got the Japanese Pac-Man Museum, which again has got sort of lots of old Namco arcade games on it. Really cracking collection. Then we've got Flockers. This is basically Lemmings with sheep. One I never knew anything about again and just dropped on it in CEX, but not a bad little game if you like Lemmings. Then we've got the two Atari Flashback collections. I just bought these primarily because I had a 2600 actual console and a few games, and I decided to move that on, and these more than fill the hole to me. Then we've got Deer Hunter Reloaded, which obviously there's a ton of these games around. They're all quite similar. And then we've got Big Buck Hunter Arcade, and this is an arcade conversion, I would imagine. Much the same, but it is very arcadey, but it's really difficult. Then we've got Galgun Double Piece, which is another one of these sort of, you know, some kind of cutesy girl, where you're basically shooting. It's a bit of a light gun game, and you're shooting hearts at, you know, cutesy girls. Bit of fun, not a bad game. Then in a very similar vein, we've got the last two. We've got Senran Kagura Burst Renewal. This is a 3D sort of combat game, again with cutesy girls, and you're running around shooting each other. I've only played it once. And then we've got Senran Kagura Beach Splash, which again, you're firing water pistols at each other. It's, you know, it is what it is, but you know, you've got to like them really. That's Senran Kagura. There's actually one more of them I still need actually. So I am still on the lookout for that. And there we go. That's the entire PS4 collection. On the whole, I'm over the moon with it. I'm so glad I bought one back. Like I said, 90% of the games I've got no interest in playing, but there are, you know, still an amazing selection of retro inspired games, and it's also great for like modern shooters and, you know, re-releases of old-fashioned shooters. That's where I'm gonna, you know, stick with it from now on, because I've got through all the back catalogue that I wanted to get, really, aside from that Senran Kagura, I think. So going forwards, it will probably just be any shooters or fighters that come out, or maybe even a driving game. You never know. They don't tend to make many of them these days in an arcade style. But let me know what you thought of that. I'm thoroughly pleased with my PS4 for the reasons I've said. But what are your thoughts on it? Any thoughts on any of them games I've showed? Be good to hear from you. Thanks for watching, as ever, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Sayonara.